welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here today to try and make sense of the latest coming out of Ottawa.
Yeah, specifically the federal government's immediate fiscal plans, what they're focusing on right now.
Exactly.
Right.
We've looked through statements from Finance Minister Champagne, the Prime Minister, and of course, reactions from the opposition.
Right.
Our goal today is pretty straightforward. Give you a clear handle on the government's top priorities, especially this tax cut they're talking about.
And also why we're not seeing a full federal budget just
All right, let's just dive in and unpack it.
Okay. Well, the first thing that really jumps out is how focused the government seems on getting this middle-class tax cut passed quickly.
Yeah, Finance Minister Champagne was pretty clear, wasn't he? Said it's their number one job right now.
Absolutely. He said primary objective, aiming for July 1st. And, Prime Minister Carney backed that up by actually signing a directive.
An order, I think they called it.
Yeah, an order. It really underlines how urgent they see this.
And the promise is significant savings for people, right? What was the figure?
They're talking about over $800 of savings for two-income households. That's the headline number they're putting out there.
Okay, $800. So how are they actually planning to, deliver that?
Yeah.
What's the mechanism?
So the plan is to introduce it using something called a Ways and Means motion. That'll happen pretty soon after Parliament gets back on May 26th. It's basically the formal way they propose a tax change.
And the change itself?
It's about lowering the lowest marginal tax bracket, so dropping it from 15% down to 14%.
Just the 1%?
Yeah, a 1% reduction, but specifically on income up to $57,375. So it's targeted right at that lower end.
Okay. And Champagne's reasoning for pushing this so hard right now?
Well, he framed it as addressing affordability, the cost of living pressures everyone's feeling,
Right.
and also sending a signal, I guess, that the government is listening to Canadians on that front.
Makes sense. He also seemed to be asking the other parties to just get on board, didn't he?
He did. He publicly called for, bipartisan support, sort of suggesting it's a straightforward way for everyone in Parliament to show they want to help people financially, like right now.
It's an interesting approach, pushing for that unity on the tax cut.
Especially when you contrast it with the other big news.
Which is?
Which is that while they're fast-tracking this tax cut, Champagne also confirmed there won't be a full federal budget tabled before the summer break.
No budget until the fall, then?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
The sequence they've laid out is tax cut first, then the throne speech delivered by King Charles on May 27th.
That outlines the government's big picture vision.
Exactly. And then sometime later, likely in the fall, we'll get an economic statement, not the full budget document itself, at least not yet.
Okay, that delay on the budget,
Yeah.
that's definitely sparked some reaction.
Oh, absolutely. The opposition wasn't happy.
Conservative leader Pierre, Poilievre, what did he say? I remember it being quite pointed.
Yeah, he didn't mince words, called it no roadmap forward, no economic vision, and basically said it pointed to bigger problems like government delays and dysfunction.
So from his perspective, delaying the budget is a sign of poor management?
That's the implication, yes. A budget is, the main blueprint. It shows how you plan to spend, what money you expect to come in, your whole economic strategy.
Right.
So not having one can look like you don't have a clear plan, or maybe you're not ready to be held accountable for it yet.
And the NDP.
Yeah.
That was their take. Davies is the interim leader now.
Yeah, Davies also called the delay unacceptable. His angle seemed more focused on parliamentary oversight. Meaning Parliament needs to be able to scrutinize government spending properly. He raised concerns about the economy, too, especially with things like potential U.S. tariffs looming.
So he wants a plan sooner rather than later.
He specifically called for an economic plan in June. He thinks waiting until the fall is just too long, given the potential economic headwinds.
It highlights that core role of Parliament, doesn't it? Holding the government's feet to the fire on spending.
Exactly. And the budget is the key tool for that. Without it, that detailed debate and examination just doesn't happen in the same way.
So with no budget imminent, that throne speech on May 27th becomes even more significant, right?
Hugely significant. It's not just about the policy vision anymore.
It's about confidence.
Precisely. After the speech, there's a motion to approve it and a debate that can last up to 6 days. The vote on that motion is the very first formal test of whether this government actually has the confidence of the House.
The support of the majority of MPs.
Right. And typically, even though it's not like a strict rule, budgets and major fiscal updates are also treated as confidence matters. Lose a vote on those, and you could potentially trigger an election.
Which, interestingly, circles us back to that tax cut they want passed so quickly. Despite the government hoping for easy agreement, the opposition, well, they might not just roll over.
It's definitely uncertain. Poilievre and Andrew Scheer, who's leading for the Conservatives in the House, they haven't actually said if they'll vote for the tax cut or not.
So even if it seems popular, their criticism of the missing budget might mean they withhold support.
It's possible. They could try to use it as leverage, right? Link their support for the tax cut to demanding that broader fiscal plan sooner. It's all part of the political game.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, stepping back from the immediate budget and tax cut fight for a second, the government also announced some new cabinet committees.
They did. And the names and focus of these committees, well, they give us some clues about their priorities moving forward.
Like what?
Well, there's a big one. Priorities, planning, and strategy. And it's chaired by the Prime Minister himself.
Centralizing control, maybe? Setting the main direction.
Seems like it. Then there's a Build Canada committee, pretty clearly focused on the economy, infrastructure, growth.
Okay.
And interestingly, a Government Transformation and Efficiency Committee, its job is apparently looking at reducing spending.
Efficiency and spending cuts. That sounds like a response to some of the fiscal criticism, maybe.
Could well be. And finally, there's one focused on ensuring a secure and sovereign Canada, which includes managing that crucial U.S. relationship and global interests.
So quite a bit of restructuring there, pointing towards their key areas of focus.
Yeah, it paints a picture of where their energy is going.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up. Key takeaways. Number one, the immediate push is all about that middle-class tax cut. July 1st is the target.
Right. But number two, no full federal budget until after summer. We get the throne speech first, then a fall economic statement.
And number three, the opposition is really not happy about that budget delay. They see it as a lack of vision and accountability.
Which creates uncertainty, especially around that initial throne speech confidence vote, and maybe even support for the tax cut itself.
So for you, the listener, the direct impact might be that tax cut hitting your wallet, potentially.
Yeah, keep an eye out for the details on that. But also, watch those parliamentary dynamics very closely, starting with the throne speech vote. It'll tell us a lot about the government's stability.
Definitely. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought for you to consider.
What's the trade-off here?
Right. What are the longer-term implications of prioritizing an immediate targeted tax cut now, instead of laying out a full, comprehensive budget?
How does that choice affect Canada's ability to tackle the bigger economic picture, plan for the future, deal with things like debt or investment?
Something to mull over as things unfold in Ottawa. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.